Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. So I'm gonna get right into the content for today. Recently, well, yesterday, I was waking up from my sleep and I looked to my left and I noticed the sun was rising and I just thought, man, wow, that's beautiful. And as I started thinking about the sunrise, I thought about the sunset, I thought about the moon, I just thought about like the stars and just how everything is so different and yet it's so it's so unique. And then I just started thinking about all the kids that I work with, you know, as a therapist, and some of the kids that I work with at my church, and just thinking about just the different personalities, and how they're all so different, and just they're so beautiful at the same time. And as I continued, I just started thinking even more and more about just like the differences that we all have, like twins. Twins, they look alike, and yet they are so different. Their DNA structure is completely different. And I was just so blown away because I was just like, wow, God, you did this. Like, everything is so beautiful. Everything has its purpose. Nature has its purpose. Every creature has its purpose. And yet at the same time, they're so different. And it got me thinking about children and how sometimes one of the things that I noticed as I've been working with parents is that we compare, right? We compare one child to the next child. And can I say that is the worst thing any parent can do is compare their child to another sibling or to another kid, you know, like, or say things like, why can't you be like so and so kid? You know, yeah, that is a big problem. So I want to talk a little bit today about just like as parents, loving your children the way they are. Their personalities are the way they are. And so we have to learn to value and appreciate them and learn to work with them where they are. So, but one of the key parts of this whole beautiful construct of their differences is that each kid has their own strength. And so your job as a parent really is to pull out that strength. Like, for instance, I I have one kid I work with, and he is like extremely bossy, okay? So for me, working with that kid, to some other person, you might think of him as bossy, but to me, I see that also as leadership skills, leadership abilities. And so, like, as parents, we see some of these negative behaviors, and we're like, wonder, why is our kid like this? Like, why are they so stubborn? Or why don't they ever listen? Every moment is a teaching moment. And so I think the beauty of that place or that child's limitation, a temporary limitation or a temporary struggle, can actually be used for good. And so our job as parents is to really kind of fine tune that. And that might look different. It might look different from the other sibling that you had to, your first child. Your first child might be completely different from your last child. And you know what? It's okay. What's important is that that kid does not hear you as a parent saying, why can't you be like your brother? Or why can't you be like your sister? Because when they hear stuff like that, it actually affects their self esteem. It actually affects their perception of themselves, their identity, and it really kind of goes two ways, meaning like you're probably gonna see some kind of different kind of outcomes as a result to that, as a result of them kind of constantly hearing some stuff like that. So you might see as they grow up, they be like, oh, I'm gonna prove you wrong. Or you might find that that child actually falls into that thing that you're speaking over them. So as parents, we have to be mindful of what we're saying to our kids, how we're saying things to our kids. I know sometimes they'll do things and you're like, why? But at the end of the day, it's like it's so important to have those conversations with them and to love them just the way they are, no matter what. No matter what. And so one thing I want to add to that is that those areas that you might be frustrated with your kids, Listen, there are things that play a role on how our kids develop. So there's environmental factors, there's home, the home life, school life, who you're around as a parent. All that shapes what kind of child your child will turn out to be. And so if there are some behavior stuff that you're noticing, ask yourself, what's happening in my environment? Are they learning things that they shouldn't be learning? Another thing to ask yourself as a parent is to say to yourself, okay, what can I do as a parent to really use what seems like weakness, or what seems like overly sensitive, or what seems like just don't listen, like they're stubborn. Figuring out ways to glean that into a positive trait or positive characteristics. Listen, it is possible. You can do it through having other people help, like sports. You can, because that has always been a way to kind of help shape discipline. It could also be like other people being involved in their lives that are more positive, more impactful. That also can help. And you as a parent, just setting the tone, setting the limitations, setting, a consistent pattern also plays a role on the improvements of that area. Now, some kids they are who they are, in a sense where if your kid is shy and you want them to be outspoken and outgoing, and listen, there's a time for that. In the season in their life right now, they may not be there. But as a parent, what you can do is encourage them. As a parent, what you can do is speak life into them and remind them who they are, to build that confidence. But that kid may never be that person who's outspoken. They might just be shy, humble, and speak when they need to speak. But again, at the end of the day, I think as parents, we just have to learn to love them no matter what, and even if, and just learn to meet them where they're at. So this is some of my tips for some parents for today, as far as the topic of just, dealing with differences amongst your kids, and dealing with different behaviors and different tones and different, it does get better. As far as I've noticed, as far as so far, working in the field and just working with parents, it does get better as long as you as a parent show up and you're so on purpose on loving them, and so on purpose being available to them, and so on purpose, helping them navigate through some of those difficult hiccups that they might encounter in their life. So that's my little word for today again. So the interesting thing is that my children's book, Viola's Hurt Heartfelt Words, a lot of it, listen, it's a great tool for little kids, parents, to just have those conversations with them with behaviors that you're noticing that you're like, this needs to be nipped in the bud. So not that you're getting away from who they are as kids, but you're actually learning to understand their heart. And so if you have not yet checked out my book, Viola's Hurt Heartfelt Words, it is available on Amazon. Please check it out. Right now it's $2.99 on sale on ebook. I'm still working on getting it into, it's a whole different long story, into Amazon as book. So please bear with me. But again, thank you so much for your time, and thank you for listening. If you like the content of what I shared today, please like, share, and subscribe. Thank you. Have a blessed day.